Greetings, everyone. Thank you and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Angelic Alchemy Meenakshi, and I am here today to discuss one of my favorite topics and one of my most favorite tools throughout my journey here on Earth since childhood, but even so more after spiritual awakening. Crystals. We are discussing crystals today. This video was highly requested by some of my beautiful fellow healer practitioners as well as clients. And so I've put together some notes for myself to speak through today. I was speaking with Divine Mother, Divine Father of Creation, as well as the benevolent collective of Mother Crystals that have actually channeled and shared information that I am sharing today. Some of it I have learned over the course of my life through research as well, and as well as sessions that have happened where clients and I myself have seen myself with crystals. A lot of messages have come through dream time, through meditations. And as we go along, I'll try and share as many personal examples as I can. So you can also, draw a parallel, perhaps, sometimes we go through experiences, but really don't give too much importance to them. But they speak with us and they give us messages. Crystals have consciousness within them. In fact, they're an integral part of this universe's consciousness. So let's get started. A quick introduction of myself. I practice angelic alchemy, holistic healing services listed under them, angelic alchemy, past life regressions, Reiki, as well as Akashic records reading, and I am also a spiritual mentor. You can also find various topics here on my YouTube channel, which I've basically shared in terms of sessions as well as channel messages, dreamtime messages, and galactic wisdom coming in through my beautiful guides. I work with Divine Mother, Divine Father of Creation, whom have incarnated on Earth in various forms, in various cultures, religions, as well as places, civilizations, races. So let's get started. So, as I was speaking with my guides yesterday and putting together the notes, because I wanted to make sure I don't forget anything and at least touch upon the major important topics that have helped me on my journey, and I hope that they help you as well. And as we were speaking, Archangel Michael and Divine Mother announced that we're basically connected with the collective consciousness of the mother crystals, which basically means when the crystals were birthed within our universe, they're actually a part of the universe itself. Each one of the crystals and formations of the crystals have a mother crystal. The benevolent collective consciousness of the mother crystals form, it's a beautiful collective in itself, and they're able to speak about their experiences, their journey as crystal consciousness through this universe, and they teach us a lot. So I basically asked them, what is a crystal, or what are crystals, and how would you define them, if at all there can be a definition to something so pure, organic, and it's difficult sometimes to describe them in words because they're all about frequencies, right? As we've seen in our sessions, as you touch your crystals, you feel their frequencies. It's not always about words, but this is what they said. They said, we are the matter that make up the universe. We are the cellular structure of the framework of this universe. Therefore, an integral part of our organic structure here in this universe. So there are many planets in our universe that are completely crystalline and just pure crystals. There are mountains and mountains and lands of just crystals. They are different shapes, different colors, different frequencies, and the beings that have visited these planets and the beings that actually come from these planets, the light beings, um, they can literally walk and glide upon these lands, very comfortably. So they're attuned to those lands because they are from there. And as these planets, these creations evolved, as our universe evolved, these crystals also evolved to meet the, frequency that was required for the evolving universe and the energies that were required, and through their own experiences as well. So there'd be an amethyst, and and then suddenly, there's a citrine somewhere, and the amethyst and citrine would come together, or a clear quartz, and and obsidian would come together and form a crystal, various formulations and frequencies that came together from these planets. So this is where they originally were based. However, these crystals are in every speck of our universe, as they are the cellular membrane, the cellular structure of our universe, as explained by them. They also, these crystals that we've seen in, sessions as well. I've had clients who've actually been to these planets, and they've seen themselves as parts of these mountains, and they've seen themselves emerge from these mountains as light beings who've existed, on the planet, continued living their existence, and then when they are older in terms of the experience, they become the elders, they merge with the mountain, with the crystal again, and they rebirth themselves basically. And these light beings also answered the call of our earth, our beautiful earth, when it called out for help. But even before that, let's talk about like the origin of earth. So the crystals have been present on Earth since the beginning of the story, the history of Earth, from the first time that Earth was ever created, before humans or any other life forms came, and Earth was just soil and water. The crystals were the foundation ground, again, the cellular organic membrane structure of the Divine Mother Earth. Therefore, they have been layered in various forms, shapes, colors, and frequencies within Earth throughout time. And despite the fact that Earth has restructured itself time and again, imploding upon itself or and reconstructing itself, so therefore the outer layers and membranes of Earth going inwards, and then the outer newer layers of Earth being the new ones, the crystals kept going within into the core membrane of Earth. However, their frequency is still available for us to touch base upon. And the higher upper membranes that were formed, the layers, the sedimentations of the rocks that happened, the soil that came through, also had newer crystals within them embedded. And it's a beautiful structure. I've basically seen it in dream time. I've had a couple of dreams of being shown. I guess it must have been during the tuning of crystals at some point. I don't remember clearly, but it happened. It was a very clear, vivid dream of being inside Earth. So if you look at a mountain, and if you had to slice the mountain um, vertically, okay, and then you see the vertical layer of the mountain from inside, as if the mountain is inside. So you're seeing the inside layers of Earth, and you see different layers. So there's soil, and then there'd be like a layer of peridot. There's soil and there's amethyst. And of course, that's how they've excavated these crystals and brought them out to be used in the outer surface as well. But that's how they are layered. There are many, many, many crystals that are untouched and forever shall be, because they are the organic, what do you call it, the covenant of Earth. So they're very protected. They're highly protected. They cannot be accessed. There's a certain frequency or, a key that is required to access those crystals. And there are various key holders on Earth that, when activate themselves, get connected to those ley lines or to those specific crystals. As we've seen in past lives as well, these people, these beings have actually protected the sacredness of these crystals with their life. They've, sometimes had to give up their lives. Sometimes they had to integrate themselves with the crystal to save the crystal. And in doing so, they left their physical form and they became the crystal. So there's just so many beautiful stories of crystals. I can go on and on and on, and this can be a video for hours. So that's what they were showing, and they showed various layers. Also, we're going to be talking about how to procure crystals, how to search for crystals, how to know which crystals are calling you, which ones you have to know. So just in case I don't forget, I do want to add that sometimes these dreams that are shown and they're showing you a particular crystal, it might be because, one, you're connected to that crystal, you're a guardian of that crystal, or that crystal has a past life connection to you and it has messages for you. Or it could also mean that they want you to, it's that crystal is deep within Earth, but they want you to access and procure a smaller piece of that crystal so you can hold onto it, and it can be a part of your journey here in the physical Earth, and that's how it connects you to the master crystal that is embedded within Earth. Okay, so those dreams were absolutely beautiful. And another dream that I had was that of land and water. So at this point, so you can imagine Hawaiian lands, and which, as we know, Hawaii is a part of Lemuria. It's one of the fragments of Lemuria that managed to float and continues to be just beautiful. I'm sure there are many, many parts that are still connected. Um, and although it is here, but there's also in England, so various places, because basically Lemuria and Atlantis, I feel they were not just pockets or an island, they were the consciousness of Earth. They were one continent. They were one unity consciousness of Earth, basically. So, and the other way that they showed me in dream time at one point was I was inside the water. There was an ocean, and there was a mountain right next to the ocean. So the beach had a mountain on it. And again, they were showing me the layers of the land and the mountain from inside the ocean. So there's the mountain. Again, if you slice the mountain vertically and you're able to see what's inside the mountain. So I could see the water was touching the mountain and that part, but I could also see layers of crystals, lava, and hematites and volcanic stones, basically crystals, as well as other crystals and water energy touching it. And they also explained how when the volcanoes erupt and the volcanic lava touches, that's how hematite is formed, right? The volcanic lava touches the water, it cools down instantly. Well, not instantly, but as fast as it can. And that's how it forms itself into this beautiful, almost magnetic-like quality crystal, shiny silver, black crystal, hematite, and obsidian, all of these beautiful lava stones, basically. And that's how they are formed. Okay. So that's how they showed me the sedimentation of Earth happened, and it's always there, no matter what happens to Earth. And so these crystals, there are many types of crystals. One of the main crystals that I wanted to talk about is clear quartz. Quartz, basically the quartz family, not just clear quartz, but the quartz family. Now, the quartz family is a type of crystal which is piezoelectric. I'm going to read out the definition to explain this. Basically, what it means is when something is piezoelectric, it means that when you rub pressure on it or apply any sort of mechanical pressure on it, it can alchemize that pressure into energy, into a form of energy that could be electricity, any other form. Okay. And quartz family is piezoelectric. So here's the definition. Piezoelectricity is the electric charge that accumulates in certain solid materials, such as crystals, certain ceramics, and biological matter, such as bone, DNA, and various proteins, in response to applied mechanical stress. The word piezoelectricity means electricity resulting from pressure and latent heat. Quartz crystal is the most widely used crystal when it comes to conducting electricity. Its resistance to wear and heat, added to its ability to regulate electricity, makes it a highly valuable substance for technology engineers. Okay. The reason why I'm talking about quartz right now is because it is one of the biggest master generator crystals that Earth has always had and will continue to have. And as we all know, when we start building our crystal kit, clear quartz are the first ones that we all buy, and they come in various shapes and forms. There are Lemurian ones which have like serrated stairs on them, which carry basically their record keepers. Because we'll talk about Atlantis and Lemuria and how they did that basically. So let's see, what else did I want to say? So the reason why I was sharing about clear quartz is because of its quality of being piezoelectric, it has the ability to be programmed. Okay. Now, of course, with love and with all sacredness, everything that is taught to us by the angels, by this universe, these are teachings that our Earth has had, ever since Earth has evolved from its first cycle itself. We've lived in those times, we've had those teachings, we've experienced them, we've made mistakes, we've learned from them, we've ourselves rebirth ourselves, come back again, and then we need to basically tap into that memory of everything we knew and bring it back again. It comes in various shapes and forms. So that is one reason why I really wanted to talk about clear quartz. Clear quartz are programmable. So if you have clear quartz, you can basically clear the energies, which we will talk about how to clear energies as well. and you can program them with positive intentions, never meaning in any way, shape, or form to cause harm in any way. Okay, so making sure that when we lay any intention, they are positive affirmations for growth and expansion that are connected to the larger collective, the growth of the collective, and are not selfish in any nature. So just making that intention, So for example, it could be to bring clarity. Okay, so you can attune your clear quartz and meditate with it and say, clear its energy of any old static energy that might be there, stagnant energy that might be there. And then you can program it to say, thank you for all the clarity that you bring to the universe. I acknowledge your existence and I invite you to now please attune me to the clarity of source frequency so that and everywhere I go, I emanate that clarity and that frequency. So basically, the intention that you laid is yes, it is helping you, but it is helping also the universe in a larger scale. That's how you work with these beautiful crystals, and they work with us because they are consciousness. Crystals have a consciousness to them. They can hear your messages, they can feel your energies. They are they're sentient beings, basically. They've also taken shapes of sentient beings. And here on Earth, there are many beings that are crystals. They're actually crystals from planetary spheres. They exist as crystal mountains, and they've answered the call of Earth for help, and they've come here, and they are in forms of human beings right now, but they're actually crystals. They're walking crystals. That's why their energy emanates love, healing, teaching, wisdom, grounding, elder wisdom, all of that. Archangel Michael was sharing at least 12% of our population is basically clear crystals. They are crystal beings. All right, so let's talk about Lemuria and Atlantis. Going back to my journey, basically with the crystals, very quickly, I wanted to add it goes way back to when I was a child because within my family lineage, we have astrologers and, we've worked with gems and crystals. And all the children, once their birth chart is looked at, if there are any planets that have been weaker to, give them extra strength, there are specific crystals related to those planets that help to boost the energy of those planets and make them a strength for that child instead of being a weakness. So sometimes there are children that have a tendency to fall more. So it could be a quality of Mars, which causes accidents. And then, a red crystal is basically worn to strengthen the energy of Mars because that means that child's Mars, the placement of Mars in that child's chart is weak. And then by wearing like a coral or a red crystal, the child's energy gets more attuned to the fire energy of Mars and it becomes stronger, become immune to accidents. So just a hypothetical example that I was, wanted to share here. So I've basically grown up seeing crystals and gems, and they have personally helped my journey. I've worn a lot of emeralds and mother pearls. Those were two crystals that I had to have always at all times had with me. And as I awoke to other crystals and the presence of many other crystals and learned more about them and their qualities, I included them in various ways, shapes, and forms across through my journey as well of awakening. The angels and my guides have come in dream time to show me exactly which crystal to bring and what I was going to do. So, for example, Archangel Hilal had visit me in one of my dreams way back in 2018, and he was holding a massive labradorite on his right shoulder. It was a pointer crystal. It was this big. And he was basically showing me, you need to get this crystal. And that's when I went on my search to get labradorite. And I think none of my crystals have been bought randomly. I think all of the, and that's a story for all of us. The crystals choose us. And our guides are, continuously at all times, different steps and stages. Whatever we need, they come forth and they share messages with us and they tell us what we need. So that's how, you can add to your crystal collection. You can actually ask your guides to show you as well what kind of crystals can actually guide you. Okay. Talking about Atlantis and Lemuria. Within Lemurian and Atlantean times, we had powerful higher dimensional beings coming to Earth with their energies, with their wisdom to basically exist on Earth and evolve Earth and also go through the cycle of Earth and have their own learnings and their own experiences here and seed Earth basically to birth humanity, which is another race in itself, and to start the cycle of life, right? So when these beautiful light beings, they came from higher dimension, we saw in a beautiful session of a divine mother that Atlantis was originally, the blueprint of Atlantis was birthed in the 10th dimension. It still exists there as a beautiful golden city. It is absolutely clean and pure, and all of its organic structure is there. It, however, does not have life forms in it because it's the blueprint of it. So when Atlantis and Lemuria were seated on Earth, these light beings came from higher dimensions, and as they came, they brought along with them crystals from their planets. And a lot of the crystals from crystalline planets just teleported themselves to plant themselves here. Some of them were brought in through spaceships. Some of them came over time. Some of them multiplied themselves and almost like crossbred themselves and created themselves here on Earth. And that's how it was. Um, these crystals, as they existed in Lemuria and Atlantis, kind of like you would have seen videos of digging and excavations of crystals. And have you seen videos of clear quartz and selenite caves where they have huge pillars and pillars of selenite and clear quartz that they're trying to break down and bring out in pieces? So imagine all of those big giant pieces were actually on Earth and everything was about them. The temples, the floor of the temples, the ceilings, idols or anything that they had were basically made of crystals. The pots, the gardens would have crystals just coming out. And they're not like, they don't come in your way. You don't like step on them and, they poke you like thorns. You're just attuned to walking on them and they're very smooth. It's like a smooth structure. So that's how it was like really beautiful. And these crystals were basically their purpose of being in Atlantis and Lemuria was, and that's the reason I talked about clear quartz, because these crystals were programmed to be the organic crystalline structure of Earth and to carry on activations, healings. These crystals were basically, what do you call them? Yes, these crystals were basically master generators. So they were master generator crystals of various types. So there'd be like master generator clear quartz, amethyst, rose quartz, citrine, obsidians, smoky quartz, all of them. They were master generator crystals all over. They were under the ocean. They were, under the sand, on the sand, everywhere. And these crystals were all connected together as a grid, and they were programmed to work together like a crystalline, organic, I don't want to say machine, but like a network. Okay. And basically, they were the health of the planet. They were used for healings, activations, for bringing in wisdom, from channeling in wisdom and energy onto Earth from higher dimensions, for communication, for record keeping. So these crystals were also keeping record of everything that was transpiring on the planet at that point. That's why you have the, what do you call them? I think I have one. That's one of the first crystals that I got. I don't mind showing it because it was a part of my crystal kit. A lot of my clients have seen it when I did crystal healing sessions in person. So there are pointers, terminator crystals, double pointed, so you can channel energy into them and you can channel energy out of them. These crystals were basically used to anchor in specific points where you wanted energies. And then there were also crystals. Unfortunately, I can't show all of them right now because they're all a part of the grid here doing something or the other, but there'll be like clear quartz, and then I'm sure most of you know, they are serrated, they have ladders in them. Those are record keepers. Every ladder, every step is a dimension or a part of existence that has happened. It's like a library of information, similar to how dolphins and whales have since then, since Lemurian times, been record keepers. They have the same information in them. So, and they work together. So that's why the ocean crystals and, the dolphins and the whales, they all work together in exchanging that information. So that's what the organic structure was. So what happened was when the dark beings entered Earth and entered our universe and started attacking and permeating through the layers of Earth, they tapped into the Atlantean energies because of the crystals, because the crystals were powerful. They basically came for the crystals. You can say that because the crystals, um, I'm getting the word soul. It's like they're the soul, you know. Even in higher dimensions, when planets were attacked, they always went for the crystals because the crystals were protecting the planets and the crystals held the wisdom. The crystals had energy in them. Okay. The word I was looking for was chi, energy. They are the clear source energy that is flowing through. And these dark beings didn't have their own energy. So what they did was, as they came in through the other beings that were working, that also managed to get some of this dark energy in them, as well as they managed to get energies into the crystals, these dark beings started deprogramming these crystals and these master generator crystals and reprogramming it in an inverted way so that they could use it in harmful ways to create artificial energy and artificial beings and artificial life. And as they were trying to do it, I'm saying trying and attempting because they were not completely successful in doing what they came here to do. I'll share a little bit about how. As they were trying to do it, they were also sending that energy from the crystals here on Earth up into the higher dimensions that the crystals came from because they were connected through the source lineage, through the DNA, basically. As this energy was going through, there have always been dragons and higher dimensional light beings watching over as guardians. They blocked that energy from infiltrating all the way to the master crystals on top and to a great extent to higher dimensions as well. And as they block that energy, it kind of cut the connection off for these crystals from their source connection in a way. And of course, they continue to have the energy from Earth, but it became like a limited source of energy where they have the energy and then they need to replenish it. And that's not how a source energy should work. Source energy is infinite. And if you're completely connected, then the energy is just constantly flowing through you. And they use this energy. It's almost like I'd seen it in a session. I'd like to give attribute to that, where they showed that they used this technology in a wrong inverted way. It was like they were almost creating like a nuclear weapon out of this technology. That's the extent to the abomination that they um, did of sacred alchemy. And with this experiment, it's one of these experiments that resulted in Earth imploding on itself because the crystals went down because these beings used crystals negatively and alchemized them negatively. And it imploded, these crystals imploded on themselves, and that's how Atlantis sank. However, in the process of doing so, the crystals also self-healed themselves. Some of them also extricated themselves from the situation, and they managed to lodge themselves organically into the sacredness of Mother Earth and kept themselves clear. Okay, so we had crystals that were completely untouched, still pure, clear, and we also had crystals that were, by now, they had infiltrations of artificial intelligence in them that needed healing. And that's how the crystals were basically mirroring, or it kind of just formed the artificial matrix blueprint. And as we went through the cycles of rebirth and coming in and going through the challenges, and we know exactly how, the artificial matrix works, the crystals were also feeling it. And now, as all of us, thousands, I would say millions of light workers and beings that are here on earth that may not be called so, but have been living in their hearts, being kind to Mother Earth, being kind to each other, basically being the source energy that they were always meant to be, and remembering their unity consciousness with source and with each other, understanding that the brother walking there may be different, but we've come from the same source, therefore coexisting respectfully, and therefore being a reflection of source on earth, basically started healing the lands, healing the waters, and also healing the crystals. And all of the work that has been done on earth, all of the magnificent work that has been done on earth through various modalities, fashions, and creations, beings, dragons, elemental beings, higher dimensional beings, light beings, angels, divine mothers, goddesses that are here, has alchemized the crystals back to their organic state. And that's why we say Atlantis and Lemuria are coming and are online now. These crystals, the organic structure of the crystals, are online now. And I think the last 3 or 4 years, we mostly spoke about Atlantis. I noticed that there was a shift from last year and going into this year where powerful messages were coming across for Lemuria. And even in Akashic reading sessions, the angels would say, her Lemurian self is activated, her Lemurian crystal is activated, her Lemurian dragon is activated. So it is just constantly Lemuria. So we've basically, Atlantis has come online. If there's any healing still left, it's going to continue to receive its healing, and it's going to keep coming online. But Lemuria is also online. Lemuria is also coming alive into its organic structure, and it is beautifully recreating itself. And so that's how the crystals have been connected to Atlantis and Lemuria. And now we are basically excavating those crystals and are able to touch them, feel them, and connect with their energies. For myself personally, sometimes when I've done sessions for others as well as for myself through dream time or meditation, I've noticed that they've healed a certain aspect of Lemuria or Atlantis. The crystals have presented themselves. So it's been like a geode of the clear quartz would just show up in meditation and dream time on a white sandy beach or in water. And then that was basically a message to connect with that energy. And sometimes they will ask you to go and find a version of that in the crystal shop, or you can go to the crystal caves and bring them out yourself if you have an opportunity to do that. So that's how it is all intertwined with our lives here. That's how important crystals are to us. And that's why a lot of religions and a lot of cultures, races, they consider crystals to be bad, and they think that they're the devil's work and don't touch crystals and so that, because basically they know as soon as you do that, you're going to be connecting with the purest source organic consciousness and activating yourself, empowering yourselves. Okay, so let's see what else. So now let's talk about how to procure crystals, how to get crystals for yourself, how to know which crystals to add to your collection, which crystals are calling you. Basically, this is all self-work. You are your biggest guide for that. You have to listen to your inner voice, and you can also set an intention with your higher self to basically, I noticed my mic volume was low. You can set an intention with your higher self and your guides to show you in dreamtime meditation, or to bring forth messages in whatever way they feel that you will get them, to show you what crystals you need to work with, what crystals you need to bring in. And as you see them in your meditation dream time, or you just get a calling, you basically get them. You basically go to a shop that you feel more called towards. I have personally never ever purchased any crystal through websites, because I've always felt the need to touch them, feel them, and know them myself personally. However, I'm not saying that it's not possible to get pure crystals. It is possible. So follow your heart and see how you want to get them. Once you're at the, say, for example, you're going to a crystal shop and you go in, you could go in with a set mind. If you've seen, say, the labradorite, or you've seen a clear quartz geode that you want to particularly pick up, you can go and you can look for it. And sometimes you will get an exact match of what you've seen. I've seen that happen a lot. Or sometimes you can just let yourself free and go into the shop and see, just set an intention which crystal wants to connect with me and help me in, continuing my journey here on Earth, so we can help Mother Earth and our mission. As you walk through, believe me, you're going to have crystals calling you. You'll look at them and you'll be like, I don't even know what this crystal is, but I have to get this one. And then later on, you'll be doing a research trying to find out. This has happened with me. You'll try to find out, what crystal. I don't have it here, but I have this beautiful crystal, which is, thing is emerald and ruby combination, mostly emerald, but it has a little bit of ruby in it. As a researcher, it was just so beautiful, and the qualities come up, and when you read the qualities, you'll realize this is what was going on in my life, and the crystal basically matches it. It's an affirmation. Personally, for me, there was a phase, it was quite recently, where emeralds and rubies were really calling my attention, and then the universe gives you proof and confirmations in many ways. I saw them in dream time. I saw myself actually wearing a dress which was emerald and ruby in color. And I also had a client that came in for a session that said that she saw me in dream time, and she told me that she saw me wearing emeralds and rubies. And it was very soon after each other. So it was a confirmation that that was an energy that I was meant to connect with and activate, or it was already there. I had to just remember it. So the messages could come in various forms. The reason why I share personal examples is because they've helped my journey. So if it can help anyone's journey, I'm happy to share them. Of course, everyone has their own journeys and they have their own beautiful experiences. If you want to share any of your experiences and you feel safe enough, you can drop an email And there's so many of us that exchange, those messages, and it's a beautiful activation for each other. Sometimes we remind each other of, messages and crystals that we're meant to see. The mere mention of it can be like, oh, I want to look it up, and basically your guide wanted you to hear, but since you didn't hear it so far in any other messages, they have your friend, just mention it. So you go in and say, for example, there's a rose quartz crystal that calls your attention, then you pick it up, you ask for its permission, you pick it up and you hold it. Tune out of your surroundings and you tune into your own heart and the frequency of that rose quartz. Close your palms around it and just feel its energy. Okay? That's how you can also tell if a crystal is real or it's fake. Real crystals will pulse in your palms. Okay, you will feel the energy almost like a heart pulse, and you feel the warmth of it. So they're initially cold to touch, but when you hold them in your palms, they turn warm and feel the energy. So you feel the energy and you ask them questions. What is your connection with me? Would you like to join my journey? Would you like to go home with me? And that crystal will give you messages. It could be a direct, clear audient message, it could be a feeling, an emotion, or just a sense of knowing, yes, this clear quartz, this rose quartz is mine, and it needs to work with me, and or I need to work with it, and you just take it home basically. So that's how you pick your crystals, following your own intuition, your own inner guidance. You also take your dragons with you, and it's beautiful to send your dragons ahead of you and ask them to clear that space. And the dragons can also do the work of finding out which crystals are ready to go home with you, and they will take your attention to the one that you need to connect with. And once you connect with the crystals, sometimes the attuning happens so fast that they don't want anyone to touch that crystal anymore. I once I got this beautiful crystal. It was a small red sardonyx. And as I brought it to the counter, the crystal bounced 3 times out of that person's hand, and he actually said, oh, it's like the crystal doesn't want me to touch it anymore. It was already attuned. So that was a beautiful example, and it was beautiful that it came from the person, because the person himself is very aware of crystals, scientifically, the properties, as well as sort of, the organic structure and what they stand for. So that's how intuitive and powerful crystals are. They are magical. They do things right in front of our eyes. And if we are really looking and watching, they can bring forth many activations by just these acts. Once you bring the crystal home, I start the process of healing the crystals on my journey back home itself in the car. I put symbols on them and I start clearing them right away. You can start clearing them with your intentions of basically clearing them of any traumas, wounds, memories, memory fields that they hold that are not the highest frequency of love light, that were inverted, that are not organic, that they're ready to let go of. And you start saying those intentions, start clearing them. And most likely there'll be, sun. You can use the sun's energy as you're bringing them home to start cleansing them. Once you bring them home, I have a huge strainer, a food strainer. Wash the crystals, first of all, hand wash them all. And please know that some of the crystals are not meant to be soaked too much in water because they're porous and they absorb the water. Selenite is one of them. So you quickly just rinse them, you clear the energy, and take a bowl and put, my sage bowl in it, and I suspend the strainer over it. And I place my crystals in the strainer. So the strainer has holes in it. And then the energy of the sage and the Palo Santo just comes up, it rises up, goes through the crystals and clears the energy through the strainer. And I do it as many times as I like till I'm really happy with it and I know that the crystals are clear. And after I do that, I place my crystals out in the sun, or sometimes you can also put them, if you have your own backyard, you can dig a little hole in the dirt or by a tree, the roots of a tree, and bury the crystals for some time. So, because they've been outside of Mother Earth for a long time, since the time of the excavation. So, it's beautiful to let them feel Mother once again. And Mother will recharge them, leave them there for as long as you want, day, night, because as you leave them, you can set an intention for the organic moon energy to also heal the crystal and the sun's energy to also heal the crystal. So it's basically Divine Mother and Divine Father of creation, healing them and tuning the crystal to organic frequency. You can set intentions as well at that point. And then your crystals are ready to be used in various forms, whatever you need to basically bring them in for. Let's talk about that now. So as you bring in the crystals, you would have big crystals, small crystals, and crystals with various properties. Some crystals are about protection. Some are for healing, some are for activations, some dispel energy, negative energy, some absorb and transmute them, alchemize them. So depending on where you want to place your crystals, you can go ahead and do that. I highly recommend crystal grids. This is something I've been working on since 2017, 2018. You can have various grids that you can form. You can have an energetic grid because you place crystals in different parts of your house and your property, and then you connect them through uh, like a energetic grid. You can imagine the tree of life of your house. I think in my video of property cleansing, I've shared that our homes, our properties have a center tree of life as well, which is the tree of life of that property. So you can have your crystals connected to that, so you can say the amethyst is connected to the crown, and the carnelian to the sacral. The heart energies has rose quartz connected to it. You can place the rose quartz in the kitchen of the house, wherever you like. So that's how you do it. You have like a major grid going on in the house, and as you're placing these major grids, going back to the Atlantis and Lemurian energies, remember that there was always a master generator. So always have a master generator crystal that you can attune to be the major crystal that is channeling the energy, and that disperses the energy to the rest of the crystals. And that master generator crystal could be mostly what I like to work with, and what my guides have shared is clear quartz, amethyst, rose quartz, citrine. Let me see if there's any other. Selenite. And citrine is, I like to call it a solar crystal. It's as if the citrine has directly just come from source. It is pure golden energy of source. It's very powerful, very abundant. It is a crystal for the solar plexus, your willpower, your wealth, wealth in every way, wealth of your remembrance, your energies, your potential, money, finances. So that's how you do it. You have a master crystal that's going to be basically channeling energy to your crystal grid throughout time and space for your property. You can also buy crystal, and there are beautiful wooden crystal grid structures that are there. You can have flower of life, you can have seed of life, Metatron's cubic star. And as you bring them in, you can place them wherever you want to place them in the house, and you can place your crystals on them with whatever intention you have. Could be the health of your children, or their education or their well-being, or it could be for your pets, someone not feeling well. You can work around the grids basically, and you can do it intuitively. Okay, this is not something that you necessarily need to learn. This is something very intuitive. I feel no one can teach you grids. You just make them with your own heart. Kind of like when you're drawing something, you want to draw a pink flower or a green flower. You place the flowers where you want to place them. So you place the crystals where you want to place them. You follow your heart, basically. So that's how you do it. And these crystals can be used for protecting your house. Some of the most powerful crystals for protections are black tourmaline, rose quartz, because rose quartz is love. Black tourmaline, again, it is black. It has the energy to transform all darkness into light. It is an alchemizer. Obsidians are like that. Shungites, hematites are powerful protective crystals. And selenite is a very powerful crystal for protection. So basically, I remember once I got this black tourmaline huge chunk, and I just asked it if it would protect my house, and I saw my entire house. The shungite had not shungite. Tourmaline has the raw tourmaline has, if you can see little cylindrical structures. I saw those cylindrical structures through my third eye, just go through the entire house, through the walls, everywhere, shielded. Rose quartz does the same thing because it increases the frequency of the house with love. So you bring in your crystals and attune them to do that, so they can um, protect you, and they can be used for healing, they can be used for activations, they can be used for manifestations, they can be used for the work that you do, the sacred work that you do for the collective. Okay, so some of the crystals could be just for that, and you use them for that. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is when you're getting your crystals from the crystal shop, I highly recommend finding out where those crystals originated from. Okay, so if you're getting an amethyst, they'll tell you, oh, this one's from Brazil. So you'll notice that, especially if you're working a lot with the crystal and you're attuned to them and you're close to your crystals energetically and you're spending time with them, you'll notice that when something happens in the country of origin, your crystals could still be carrying that energy and feeling that energy. Okay. So a lot of times your crystals, because they're still connected to the master crystal, they most likely are still feeling the energies of whatever's going on that particular land. So it's a good idea to know where your crystals came from, originated from. So you'll be able to see what's going on in your crystals. If you at all see your crystals behaving strangely or that they're running out of energy or something's happening. Okay, so I just wanted to share that. So you can use crystals for various ways. You can use crystals for self-healing. You can use, like I was showing the pointer, terminated wands and terminated crystals can be used to channel in energy from source to a specific place. It can be used to remove negative energy. So if you feel negative energy somewhere, you can do counterclockwise with the pointer and you can say, I'm sending this energy, transmuting it, and sending source is going to transmute it, and then the sun will come and transmute that energy for you. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to share was because crystals are consciousness beings, they also have sentient beings sometimes in them. So they could be dragons, elemental beings, sometimes a whole city, civilization within a crystal. Okay, so basically, if you tap into your crystal, you can find out if there's a dragon attached to the crystal or within the crystal. How I found this out was one of the first few crystals that I bought was an amethyst. It's my absolute favorite. It's shaped like a diamond, and I can hold it in my palm and I can wear it as well. So basically, I worked with that amethyst every single day. And one day when I was meditating, in my meditation, I just saw a purple amethyst dragon go up right in front of me. It was huge. It covered the entire room. And it was crystalline and it had the facets of, how an amethyst crystal is. And I was like, wow. And I said, like, who are you? And the dragon said, I am your crystal. I'm the energy of your crystal. I was blown away because that was really new to me. I'm sure many of you are already aware of it, but at that point, I wasn't aware of it. And I was blown away that there was a dragon, that crystal was a dragon, or the dragon was in the crystal and is connected to the crystal. It's really beautiful and it is a protective crystal. So, and these crystals have past life connections with us, as we've seen in Dreamtime meditation sessions as well. People have staffs and tridents or scepters or just pure crystals that they've carried in past lives. Those crystals, they follow us and they make sure that sometimes they make themselves known to us and sometimes they just stay in our energy field. So we always have crystals in our energy field and we're made of crystals. That's another important point that I wanted to make sure. Uh, our cellular structure, because as we said, Divine Mother's cellular structure is crystalline, our universe's structure is crystalline, our structure, our cellular membranes and cells, atoms, molecules are meant to be crystals. And now that is exactly what doing. This entire journey is about moving away from that carbon-based body to once again becoming crystalline. That's how we're purifying our body. And as we do it, we will see that energy just like emanate out of us as these crystals come alive from inside of us, in our spines, in our DNA. Our energy becomes crystalline and it becomes clear and pure and shiny, glowy, basically. And so that's what this whole structure is about. That's what this diamond, this amethyst was. It is basically a crystal, crystal diamond, crystal dragon. Okay. So let's see. So that's how you use them for various things, various reasons. Now, as we know, for finding crystals, the basics are for the higher chakras, white crystals are perfect. Of course, you can use any crystal of your choice. Selenite and clear quartz are amazing for crown and above. The crown chakra is purple, so amethyst is a beautiful crystal for it. Or you can also use an indigo crystal. For the third eye, sodalite, a dark blue crystal, azurite, those are beautiful crystals for activating your third eye and connecting. For your throat chakra, once again, sodalite. Sodalite has helped my journey a lot. Sodalite and aquamarines, any light blue crystals or blue crystals for the throat, activating it, purifying your throat and healing our throat chakras. And then we have the heart, but just before the heart, we have the higher heart, which is the space between the throat and the heart. So this area, this part, I see it more as a teal color because it is a mix of blue and emerald green. So it is teal. And then going into the heart energy, the heart chakra, you can get pink or you can get green. Sometimes you can also get ruby because if you're connected to the ruby red ray of the Divine Mother, it's a beautiful crystal to get. Rose quartz and emeralds, jades. Fluorite is a very beautiful crystal. I love fluorites because fluorite is green and it's purple. So it connects it's a beautiful crystal to connect your mind and your heart together and using your mind, your organic intelligence, organic wisdom, and organic ego mind connected in with your heart, in conjunction with your heart, so you continue to stay in your heart. So fluoride is an extremely protective crystal. And we can search up the properties of crystals. We all know it. Amethyst is great for, dream time, for clarity, protection. It's beautiful for children. It heals children. It heals headaches. Rose quartz heals headaches as well. And rose quartz is very beautiful for blood circulation because, again, it is a crystal for the heart. And then similarly, you can use for solar plexus. I love citrine and tiger's eye. I also like pyrite, fool's gold. That's what it's called. And for sacral chakra, carnelians. They are very powerful crystals. Carnelians are also powerful blood detoxifiers and eliminations of toxins from the body, physically as well. So carnelians can be used for that. And then if you look into your root chakra, basically red crystals, rubies, garnets, bloodstone. Bloodstone is a blood purifier. It purifies blood. It detoxifies the body as well. Okay. Okay. So what else? Let's talk about crystal. How do you use crystals? You can use crystals in various forms. A lot of people like to use pendulums. When I started my journey, I had a beautiful pendulum that I use. I still have it. I use a clear quartz, but you can use different colors for different chakras or different reasons. Okay, so you can actually attune your pendulums to say you're going to work with mental clarity, you're going to work with health, you're going to work with abundance, you're going to help in removing entities. You can attune them. So when you get pendulum, again, use your heart discernment and intuition to choose pendulums, making sure that your elbow is firmly placed on whatever surface, good foundation, it's not shaking. Before you use your pendulums, before you also use your crystals, it is important that we attune ourselves to the crystals, and we attune the crystals to our energies and the energies of source. So you hold the crystals and you meditate with them. The crystals will give you dreams and messages, as well as get attuned to the energies to be ready to be used for whatever purpose they're here working with you. So you can use pendulums for that. The energy of the pendulum completely depends on, as with all other divination tools, the energy of the person that is using them. So it is important to have your own energy clear, to be able to get clear messages from the crystals, because we mustn't forget that the crystals are basically reflecting our energy too. They're connected to our energy. So our energy needs to be clear to make sure that we're getting clear information from there as well. So keep clearing yourselves and keep clearing the energy of your crystals, and together you can get the most beautiful, benevolent answers or a guidance, basically. They're a tool, okay? They were never meant to be the be all and end all. They are a tool that we use along the way. Our intuition is our biggest guide, and the crystals also take us back to our intuition. Basically, whatever they're telling us, they're showing us our intuition. That's what your intuition is telling you. The crystal's just pointing to that, okay? Or confirming it. So that's how it is. Yes. The other thing I wanted to talk about was crystal elixirs and drinking water with crystals in them. So a lot of times I've noticed that people make their own elixirs and they mix a whole bunch of crystals in the water and then they drink that water. It is important to know that there are very few crystals that are clear and pure enough to be put and immersed directly into water, because most crystals, since they're coming from Earth, have their own, and they're coming from different dimensions, different planets. They have metals and they have minerals and they have various properties that sometimes also oxidize them with a touch of water. So, those crystals could be oxidizing in the water and they can be toxic and poisonous. So you want to make sure that you don't directly immerse all crystals in the water. Some of the safest crystals that can be used directly in the water, and again, I would highly recommend that everyone do their own research, is clear quartz, the quartz family, clear quartz, rose quartz, citrine, amethyst, and I think those are the ones that I've used basically. So you can immerse those crystals directly in your glass jars and leave them in the sun to charge for the whole day or as long as you like. And some people like to work with the energy of the moon, so making sure organic, beautiful benevolence of moon charges on full moon nights the beautiful crystal elixir water that you're going to be using for your healing properties, drinking, whatever you're using for. The other way, a safer way to use crystal elixir is you can use something else to hold the crystal. So instead of putting them in the water, you could put the crystal as a base and then have something else on top and then put the elixir on it. So the energy of the crystal will still permeate through the water, but not touch it physically in terms of putting the toxicity of the metals and the minerals and oxidizing itself. Or you could put it on top. So you could have like a crystal jar, a crystal jar or a bottle, and then you can have like a glass dish on top and place your crystals on top of the mouth of the bottle or the jar. And the energy of the sun will, make sure that the energy of the crystals go into the water and they activate the water. So that is the safest way to actually make crystal elixirs, as per me. And you can be sure that you're not taking in any toxins. Then, of course, despite everything, no, of course, despite everything, no matter what you do, the water still needs physical cleansing. So we need to find the best way to purify our water of metals, chemicals, lead, aluminum, and everything else that is in the water, AI that is in the water. So we still need to do that. Crystals just activate them further. Uh, I love using crystals for pet babies. I didn't realize how much they love crystals until I started getting larger crystals that they could play with. So there are slabs of crystals that are available that you can get, selenite or clear quartz, or even the spheres, the crystal spheres. If you sit on a carpet or a softer area, and you just leave it there, you'll notice that pets, whether they're dogs or cats, they'll gravitate towards the crystals. And very often you will see them sitting on the slab just by themselves because they're healing themselves, they're charging themselves, because cats and dogs are fully attuned to source energies and they know pure energy when they see it. And they will gravitate towards the grids that you make. You have to keep the grids a little bit away, but they will go sniffing or they'll smell it, and they will definitely sit on the slabs for sure. And the spheres, I've noticed the cats, they love if, at least my cats do, and my cats do, when they see the sphere, if it's on the ground, they like to play with it like babies. And they love rolling those crystals with their paws continuously, and they do it for a while. So, I just leave the crystals out for them sometimes just to do that, because the crystals are healing them and activating them as well. Similarly, crystals can be used for babies and children. Of course, you have to make sure that you don't leave smaller crystals around. Trust me, even if it looks like a big blob, children have the capacity to, take them in their mouth. So making sure that you don't leave small crystals hanging around if you have babies, toddlers, little ones at home, keeping them out of their reach. But you can use bigger crystals to heal them, activate them, and also you can put it like under the mattress of the crib to basically keep them protected, and you can attune them. You can also use the energy of the crystals for, older children that go to school. They can carry crystals in their bag for protection as well as mental clarity, and being able to focus and not being distracted. And if they have, problems with eating disorders, not being able to digest foods, you can basically give them crystals for that, make bracelets or however they feel comfortable wearing it. Now, after doing all of the work that they're doing here, it's important that we recharge our crystals. So yes, we charge them when they came in to our house for the first time, but having done all of the work, just like us, we need to go out in the sun. The crystals also need recharging, making sure that in some way, shape, or form, they're receiving sunlight, they're receiving um, sometimes water energy. I like to put my crystals out in the rain after healing the energy of the rain as well. As we know, sometimes AI is just coming through the rain as well. So whatever crystals you can pick and sometimes put them out in your backyard on your decks while the sun is out, you can do that. And the ones that are much bigger and you can't, pick them up, you can make an intention to do it. You can use Palo Santo, sage, to clear them, or you can bring them closer to a window. If any crystal is overloaded with too much energy and negative energy, or if it is done with the job that it was meant to do, or it is time for it to now basically remove itself from the situation or from this contract, they are done with what they had to do, they can basically completely disappear, or they can crack, they can break. If there is any broken crystal in the house, to me, as per my intuition and from the teachings, what I've been taught by the beautiful angels and guides, it is time now to return that crystal back to Mother Earth. So you can take it back into a forest and, give it love, or into an ocean and just drop it, let it go where it needs to go. Follow your intuition for that as well, because even in going at that point, it does a lot of work for the collective. The mother crystals said to me today that they can extricate themselves from any situation, circumstances, contracts that are done and over with. And as they do that, sometimes they can also disappear. They can become invisible, or they can completely disappear. They can shift dimensions and return back also to the original planet. So they're really magical beings. they have portals within themselves to be able to do that. All right, so that's what I wanted to share today. If there's anything else that comes up that I feel I've missed, I'll be happy to leave that in the comments section. If you have any questions related to crystals that you feel you want to check in or have a query or want to share anything, feel free to email me at angelicalchemy1111@gmail.com, or just leave me a comment and I'll be happy to take a look and respond. It'll be my honor. And until then, happy finding your crystals, giving love to your crystals, connecting with them, and connecting with your beautiful source energy. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I love you all, and I'm so, so grateful for each one of you. Blessings. Have a beautiful rest of the year. Thank you. Love you.